All right.
Oh, man.
As you can see, we were told by our bosses to try out this video concept.
Not a big fan.
Apparently, people don't appreciate listening to a podcast in their car.
Yeah, I guess they just want to look at me. I don't know why. Anybody would.
Don't mind the placement of the microphone. It's a microphone. Even though in the military they might call that is that the silver bullet?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So the last time we recorded, that was Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, I think so.
A long time ago. So what's happened since then? I went to a concert in Indiana with the Meaningless Drivers podcast. And in case y'all don't know, I'm not sure when they're going to put out another episode because I know...
Yeah, Daytona would just happen, so I know they did one the day after.
One has been sick, and the other one's working on his master's degree. So, I mean, obviously they're super swamped with
definitely
life. But the episodes that they have put out, I mean, it's been, like, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
you know. Speaking of Daytona, I think we all put $100 on this one driver because, you know, all of the betting sites basically said anybody can win Daytona, and we're fans of that driver.
Yeah.
And it was Bubba Wallace, and I think he wrecked
like 10 laps
with like 10 laps, yeah. And so
I'll try to get me into that. I'm pretty sure my wife would have murdered me.
It was pretty
again.
I mean, it made me focus more on the race because I had a dog in the hunt. You know what I mean? But
I think
I
watched like the last 10, 15 laps, and I saw him wreck, and I laughed really hard because I knew y'all lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
No offense. But they had like a 30-car pile up, and
it was bad.
Pretty. My buddy didn't like the race, or what? He didn't like NASCAR. He likes like the Grand Prix and Indy cars and stuff.
Oh, like the European fast guys. Yeah.
But so I turned it on at his house, and I'm like, look, man, it'll be cool. You know, the last 10, 15 laps, they always wreck. And like 30 cars wrecked. And they had like 5 cars left on the track. So he actually became a NASCAR fan at that moment. He's like, well, if every race is like this, I can get into it, watch the last like 100 laps or whatever, and figure out like pit strategies and stuff. I was trying to figure out all that stuff. So it's pretty cool to have him convert over.
Gotcha. Yeah, in Indiana, we went to see a concert. It was Luke Combs. It was very entertaining. Landco opened up for him. Somebody else opened up before Landco. Not sure who it was, because me and the wife of one of the Meaningless Drivers, host, we were in line getting a hat for them.
Of course.
And, I mean...
You buy one of those $50 hats they sell?
Yeah, and unlike at the Preds, I didn't get 40% off.
There was no military discount.
No. And I mean, like, just say there was a little vendor, and they had the hats and the T-shirts and all that, and like they were it was 2 lines coming off of both the vendors. I mean, there was probably 200 people in line, and we're just sitting there. I mean, like, and we could hear the guy singing, and and he sounded good. Like, I'm like, hey, I guess he was a good performer, but here I am just talking with his wife, and we're just looking at all the locals. Speaking of, if you ever want to feel out of place for being tanned, go to Indiana.
Yeah, because it snows like 90% of the time.
That was the whitest.
They look like me.
That was the whitest concert I've ever been to.
I don't get outside much anymore.
Man, I mean, just when Landco and Luke Combs were singing, they were just all white people.
That's it.
And I mean, like, I don't mean...
the spotlight hits them and you're blind.
Dude, like, I don't mean, like, kind of like the country average of, like, just say the U.S. is, 60, 70% white. I mean, everybody was white in that concert.
That's crazy.
And
Indiana's that way anyways, everywhere I've been up there.
Apparently, don't go to Gary. You'll get, like, either cut or your car will end up on blocks. And,
they're like a bunch of meth heads or something. Yeah.
But you talk
about...
No
offense to anybody from Gary.
Oh, yeah, of course not. Yeah, of course not. Gary's not a sponsor, by the way. But like in between the performers, like just say, while the stage was getting set up for like all the equipment, they would play like these 90s hip hop songs, and everybody in the place was going wild. And I thought, y'all, I mean, it's odd. I mean, like, I'm not judging anybody because, if you want to appreciate music, I'm all for it. But just watching them dance and sing,
try to dance.
And then they were playing Devil Went Down to Georgia, and everybody got excited, and they played one verse, but like they would play these other songs all the way through, which, I mean, it didn't make any sense, because I figured Indiana is like, is kind of like a country state and hillbillies, but they appreciate their music. You know,
yeah.
I'm cool with that. But yeah, Luke Combs was awesome. Before the concert, we walked downtown. It was cold there. It was snowing.
Really?
And, Tennessee doesn't get snow very often. We get ice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We are walking down Main Street, which looks like it was taken out of like a freaking 1940s Sears catalog. Like everything's still small. It's, it just has that kind of small town feel. We stopped at, I think it's called the Peephole.
That sounds bad.
Well, I mean, it does sound a little bad. Like, not as bad as they're there, but
yeah.
We get into the bar. I mean, the whole bar maybe holds 25 people, so I definitely like that kind of vibe and environment. But then all of us are sitting on the at the bar, and this one girl, she's talking about something, and of course I say something like, "Oh yeah," just being a smartass, and she looked at me with like her eyes kind of glossed over like that, and she's like, "Wait, what do you mean?" "Oh yeah." So I started talking to her, just I'm just trying to bullshit with her. She was very nice, but and then she's like, "Well, my brother was in the military." I'm like, "Well, funny thing, I was in the military." She's like, "No, you weren't." Okay, like,
like,
do you want to see him? Like,
thanks.
Do you want to see my card or my ID? She's like, "Yeah, I gotta prove it." Okay, and so I show it to her, and she kind of just, I mean, maybe her autofocus was off in her mind, but she's not trying to do that.
I really love watching drunk people trying to write stuff. They're like, just keep coming back and forth, and things. You think it's going to come into focus or something?
And then once I convinced her, and she found out I was in Germany, she said that she had gone to Auschwitz and Dachau, and I've been to Auschwitz. While I was in Europe, it was very emotional. She didn't believe me that I was there, which is fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe me. She's like, "Well, do you have any pictures of it?" I'm like, "Well, first of all, I didn't feel like taking a selfie in the concentration camp. I thought that was kind of poor taste,
especially being a tourist,
and especially since I went in like 2008. So you talk about back then. I think the Razor was like the popular phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, none of these iPhone 10 with
grading picture and everything.
Yeah, I'm not taking a selfie at a concentration camp with a brick Nokia. It's just not going to look good. She's like, "Well, if you don't have any pictures, then you didn't go." I said, "Okay, fine." And then the other, my buddy Justin, who is part of the Meaningless Drivers podcast, he said, "No, like, trust me." He went, like, he was in Germany and all that. He was in the military. She's like, "Well, let me just buy you a shot." I said, "Okay."
Free alcohol.
Yeah.
Always.
And, like, I didn't get a shot. I got a Jack and Coke. Like, that is my go-to. If I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink Jack and Coke. Not like Jack and Pepsi, which it's completely different.
Yeah.
I don't do clear alcohol. Like, I think it was Ron Swanson who said clear alcohol is for, like, rich women on diets.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Except for Sean.
Yeah. But she had I think it's a pickleback.
What
you know what that is?
No, I
Pickleback was a shot of Jameson and a shot of pickle juice.
That sounds terrible.
So you would take the shot of Jameson, and then you would, swallow, and then chase it with the pickle juice.
Ugh.
I've done the same thing with apple juice. If you're taking shots and you drink some apple juice, I guess all the acidity, it'll just neutralize everything in your mouth. So it makes you continue to drink more than you probably should.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
But then that next day, you don't want alcohol or apple juice. So you've done screwed over 2 drinks. That probably, but no, she did the pickleback, and like all the other people that I was with, like they were just looking at her like, I like pickles, but I don't want to do a pickle shot. But then I started talking about Hitler, and she
never ends well.
No. And all I was saying was that Hitler was very influential, which he was.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not even from Germany, he was able to rally an entire country behind his his beliefs and stuff like that. But then she starts talking about her family who lives, I guess, in Nashville, and then she starts getting emotional because she misses them. I'm thinking, now you're drunk and you're crying.
What do I do?
And I don't know what to do.
What do I do? You want more alcohol, or
yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands, kind of thing. She talks about her family, and then she says, "I just have to tell you Okay. I'm like, okay. She says, my boyfriend, he's over there in the corner. And I look over there, and this dude looks like he has a high fade. So I'm thinking, he's probably in the military. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to have to talk my way out of this. Like, dude, I didn't do anything. She approached me. She's like, yeah, we're just trying to see how many numbers we can get tonight. I'm thinking, for fun? She's like, yeah, like, it's just a little, like, competition. And, like, she's wearing some kind of, like, a little spaghetti strap thing. Like, one's hanging down to about her elbow. And, like, I'm seeing all side boob just right there. I'm thinking, I didn't tell her to fix it because I didn't want to call her out. She turned around at one point and dropped her ID and her debit card, like, on the floor. Thankfully, Justin saw it because, I wasn't paying attention. So he picked it up, gave it to me. I gave it to her, and she's, once again, autofocus wasn't having it, and then she's like, "Man, that's a good thing." I'm like, my boyfriend would have been pissed because it was his card, it was his debit card. So then she is talking about, the jobs that we do, and Justin, of course, he said network engineer when everybody else thinks IT.
Yeah.
Like, just cut it off, turn it back on, kind of thing.
Unplug it, plug it back in.
Joking, Justin. I realize that you save the world numerous times every day, I'm sure. But I told her that I was going to college to be a teacher. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I can't win with this bitch. Like, I'm trying hard just to carry on a conversation. Because what did she do as a job?
Probably IT.
She was a teacher.
She was
a teacher.
I think she just repeated everything you said.
Yeah. I think she said she taught 5th grade, maybe social studies, and all she could say was, "Don't do it. Don't be a teacher." I'm thinking, well, look at you. You're able to come out on the weekend and go to a concert, and if you wanted to, you get summers off. And if you do teach summer school, they pay you so much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, but it's not a lot of money. I'm like, well, and you probably didn't get the job for the money. It's because you hopefully enjoy hanging out with kids and trying to teach them. She's like, well, they're okay. I'm like,
they're okay, yeah.
So then,
there's the reason I drink.
Yeah. This is why Daddy drinks. So then, we talked to her for probably 20 minutes, and then her buddy, her little girlfriend, is like, so and so, are you ready to go? Like, yeah, I guess so. Are we going to the concert? I'm like, yeah, it's almost time. She's like, okay, I gotta say bye to my friends. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to the concert too. Like, my luck, we're gonna sit right next to them, kind of thing. And she's just looking at me like, now you're not lying about the military thing, are you? And I thought, if I say that I was lying, I still got a free drink out of it. But I was in the Army, so no, I'm not lying, I promise. Well, I just want to thank you for your service. And I said, well, thank you for your support. And she's like, I think we need to go to the concert. I said, I think you do need to go. I think your buddy's gonna take you. She's like, okay, just and her boyfriend's nowhere to be found. Like, he's outside waiting for her. I'm thinking,
he just left her.
Dick, yeah.
He just left her to get hammered by herself.
So either he knew what he was getting into when he first started dating her, or he thought, man, this is the first date, and she's already calling me her boyfriend, and I don't even know the girl really. Yeah, I'm out.
He done left.
I'm good. So yeah, went to the concert, and then I think I went to the Preds game 2 nights ago.
Yeah,
where they played who? Because it was 2-1 or 1-0.
Kings.
The Kings. That was super fun. And the reason I'm talking about the Kings is because another buddy who enjoys hockey is our buddy Brian. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Little plug there, see?
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about our buddy's podcast in the beginning because all you're going to do is skip ahead 3 minutes. That's what I do. You got to be, tactical and stealthy and put it in there. But yeah, he does a WWE podcast. He is, I'm telling you, it sounds like an NPR host who enjoys wrestling.
Yeah.
So, he had a radio show back in college, him and another buddy. Brian just has a radio voice. So hopefully he can put... Did y'all see that? So you don't see that on just audio. He yawned. I'm almost done. No, but Brian, he is Smart Wrestling. It's smart with a K. He will catch you up to date on everything that happened the previous week. I don't know if y'all can tell that I'm rocking my feet. See, now I'm all worried because I can actually...
You actually tell what you're
feel
doing?
Things, yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm just kind of a blur up there. So we talked about Caleb's Meaningless Drivers. They're at Useless Driver on Twitter. Brian is Smark Wrestle podcast, and then he's at Smark Wrestle on Twitter. So now I wanted to talk about Airborne School for this episode. The one thing that I really wanted to start off saying was typical Airborne School is 3 weeks long. Okay, like Monday through Friday, you get the weekends off. Kind of off.
One thing I wanted to say is it's still a raspberry beret. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way, and you can go ahead.
Raspberry's what you eat.
Yeah.
It's definitely a maroon beret.
Yeah.
Like Prince tried to sing in. I mean, you saw it happen to him.
Yeah, sure.
Like he's gone now. Right there. Hopefully, I was somewhere there. So like somewhere in the middle, he's kind of just hanging out.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
He's just
having sex with everybody.
Everybody. There are no more virgins.
No, ever.
So, terrorists, suicide bombers. Hate to break it to you.
Prison them all.
So, Airborne School. It's supposed to be 3 weeks. We were told, like as a unit, hey, if y'all want to send your people, there's this gap in between the classes that we can just squeeze you in.
That sounds terrible.
And we thought, what do you mean squeeze you in? But I mean, like, all of us are down because when we first got there, all we were told was get airborne. Like, become airborne because it was an airborne unit. People are going to, give you shit. Looking back, you didn't have to do it. It was kind of like a mustache. They didn't want you to have a mustache.
But it was cool if you did.
But yeah, it's like, you know what? I kind of hate you. You're probably going to do some push-ups, but you can still have it all day.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. So it was either 11 or 12 days for our Airborne School. And at first we thought, yeah, we got this.
It's 12 days.
It's going to be an abbreviated class. It was 11 or 12 straight days. There were no days
breaks.
off. No breaks.
No breaks whatsoever.
So the first thing that obviously you have to do, you got to do pull-ups. You have to learn how to do pull-ups before you even get to Airborne School.
Yeah.
At least that's what they tell you. Like, if you can do 5 or 10 pull-ups, you're fine. If you can't and your unit sends you, they fucked you over. Hate to break to you. So pull-ups all day and 11 or 12 just straight days of waking up early, going to bed pretty late, and you're just popping 800 milligram ibuprofen.
Yeah, slamming a monster
all the time. Which will freak out civilians. Like, if they see you pop definitely. A few of those, like, in a monster, like, you shouldn't be alive right now.
You take like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
You slam down a monster. You're like, all right, let's go, boys. We're ready to go now.
Okay. Like, right now, I weigh about 270 pounds. In Airborne School, I was about 220. Which, I guess anything after 220, you're going to fall like a sack of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you know anything about Airborne School?
Not really.
Okay.
I've heard stories. But...
Right. Like, we didn't get to do the 250-foot tower.
Oh, where they just pull you up?
Yeah, they pull you up, like, just to kind of simulate the free fall.
Yeah.
We didn't get to do that. Rumor was, apparently every cycle when they have them, the Navy SEALs would climb the tower.
Yeah.
And then, like, climb out the arm and, like, do some pull-ups and maybe touch themselves and do whatever they do.
Whatever the Secret Squirrel guys do. They're crazy anyways.
Yeah. I didn't do that. I did experience everything else in Airborne School, including not having, like, winter clothing. They wouldn't allow it. I went in January.
You're like, come on, man.
Just you couldn't wear gloves. You couldn't wear, like, your little jacket. Nothing. Oh, when they took us to, it was like the Harness Shack. I think that's what it's called. Y'all will correct me, I'm sure, the 4 people who listen. It was either like a shoot shack or a harness shack. Shoot shack's where they kept the parachutes. Hence the word shoot. Got it. Harness shack, they have like 4 or 5 rows, like, on the roof with all these little harnesses. Like, that, like, the harness you would wear that'd be attached to your parachute and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, you get hooked in. And when you're finally, like, hooked in and you cinch your straps, you're barely off the ground. So, like, you can't really touch. So it's really showing you, like, how much of your weight will sink down into your chute, into your harness. And we had to practice, like, just say you have 4 risers, right? You have 4 little straps coming off your harness.
Off your harness to the parachute.
Yeah. So we had to practice, like, grabbing the front 2 and doing a pull-up.
Yeah.
Which, that, it makes sense. That's why you had to practice doing pull-ups. Not because their dick's there. It's because... Because if you wanted to steer your parachute, you had to pull your straps, like, toward you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is January in Georgia, right? Fort Benning.
Yeah.
Which I thought the South had humidity. Apparently not in that little 5 mile range. Just no lotion.
Because it's around the base.
People are pulling up and like pulling off to the side, and just blood
ripping their hands apart. Yeah,
like not even calluses yet. Like it's blisters on top of blisters inside lesions. It was just awful. And it's probably 30 degrees, and then we do a swing. I think it's a swing landing trainer or like a swing lander trainer, where you get hooked up and you kind of like lean off this platform, and the Sergeant Airborne, the black hat, is beneath you. He has, and it's all part of a pulley system. Okay, he has the rope like around his waist and around his legs to kind of like, it's almost like doing the rappel tower.
Yeah, so he's your belay or whatever.
Right.
So your counterbalance.
And what you're not supposed to do is jump off the platform, because then that'll really hurt him. You know what I mean? You're supposed to fall forward so it'll kind of swing you.
Yeah.
Because then all you're going to do, you're going to swing, and at the right point, he'll let you go, and it'll practice simulating you landing on the ground, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I never jumped. I never did. I promise to God I never did. I would always just fall forward, fall forward. He swore up and down. He just kept yelling. I think, like, maybe my number was like, like A249, something like that. He's like, 249, what the hell are you doing? Like, Sergeant Airborne, I'm doing what you're telling me to do. Well, you're obviously not, because it's hurting the shit out of my leg. I'm like in my mind, I'm thinking, do you see how big I am?
Yeah.
This dude, he's stocky. Like, he's a big guy. But he's about 5'8", and I'm 6'4".
You're picking him up off the ground.
It was awful. I did that for probably an hour, and like other people were getting like, yeah, good to go, good. I'm just like, get back up there. I'm like, you're only hurting yourself now.
Right.
Like, I know what I'm doing.
I don't care at this point. It's more fun to watch you hurt.
God,
I'm gonna jump straight out now.
One of the things that I was not ready for was, I have 11 messages from the meaningless drivers. So
yeah,
they can wait. The one thing that I wasn't ready for, even though they told me, was you're going to run everywhere. And it's not like a full-out sprint, but like,
yeah, you're just jogging everywhere.
When you wake up and you go to to your formation place, you're running. When you're going to the DFAC, like to the cafeteria, you're running. When you're done eating, you're running to the next station. Something they had, which reminded me of a deployment, was all that fresh fruit. Like fresh fruit, fresh veggies. Like, I eat really well.
It sounds like a good idea.
Because in Germany, I was pigging out on stuff. Because I had come back from deployment July 2008, and from July of 2008 till about January 2009, I was married at the time. We just ate out downtown all the time.
Yeah,
German food.
It's real heavy.
Or just freaking home cooked meals, just heavy. And I'm just playing Xbox every night. And so when I got there, I'm thinking, well, it's free. Like everything in the Army almost, it's free. So I'm going to take it. Well, I must have had a bunch of fruit for 5 days straight, because when we were getting ready to do some kind of event or training, I felt the bubble gut come on.
Oh man. You start eating healthy and it all it flushes your system out.
My body was working at 100% efficiency that day. There was waste. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, I either raised my hand or I called out. I'm like, Sergeant Airborne, need to utilize the latrine right now. He's like, well, go.
You're squeezing together.
I remember running. I was running while I was just clenching.
You were squeaking the whole way with your butt cheeks.
I'd go into a bathroom that would rival some AA baseball team urinal bathroom.
It's like a dugout.
Oh my God. It was like a hole in the ground.
Just a hole.
But I'm pretty sure I barely gave a cough. And it was like a faucet. It was just coming out.
As long as you didn't halfway
so
down,
it just
spraying the
burned.
wall.
It was bad.
It was bad. then you had to put everything back on and go do your training the rest of the day too.
Thankfully, I wasn't wearing the harness yet.
Oh, okay.
Like,
that's what I was worried about.
It was just my helmet and some boots. Yeah.
Like, good luck getting out of that harness.
No. But I'll
kind of hole in your pants.
I'll tell you one thing. Just like before a PT test, you put that chute on, you immediately have to pee.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
I don't know why. Like, before every PT test, like, before, like, even the push-ups, sit-ups, I probably didn't have to pee. When everybody's lined up, ready to run,
yeah,
shit, I gotta pee, I
gotta
gotta poop now.
I have like we run our fitness test or whatever. I have ran into the woods, come back with no socks, and still finished like with like a 20-minute 3 mile. So yeah.
No, see, I would, and it just gave me more incentive to just run faster.
Yeah, well, it was gonna come out one way or the other. So
oh God,
I'd rather go in the woods and dig a hole like a raccoon.
I had buddies in high school who, when they would run cross country, they would just kind of like go off to the side and keep running and just like pull it out and start peeing off to the side. And then
how do you not
calm down, shitty sock. It's the same.
I don't put them back on. I mean, you should totally you bury them out in the woods.
I just buried my poop out there. Sorry.
Bury my poop socks. I don't you don't put poop socks back on. That's disgusting.
Right. Okay.
Lost train of thought.
No. So really, just running, 800 milligram ibuprofen. Now, we had this one guy. I don't even know his name. Maybe it was something like Dante. Maybe. I could tell that like he was kind of sheltered. Maybe he was an only kid or like he was homeschooled. Not saying that's a bad thing, but I will tell you, if your child's homeschooled, let them interact with kids. Like,
socialize or something.
Don't just put like a T-bone around their neck and throw them outside the dog so they play with them. Don't do that.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, but I could tell that he was different, And I mean, I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. Like, I will bullshit with anybody. Yeah, joke around with them. And man, we were. It was a couple days before we were going to graduate. So like all of our jumps were done. I'll talk about the jumps in a second. Which if I don't, all these concussions are going to put me out for a month. We were somewhere like an Applebee's or a Carrabba's or an Olive Garden, something like that, and it was me and maybe two other guys, and then the kid, like the kind of sheltered kid, and he's just all he's all is it withdrawn, kind of like to himself.
Oh yeah, he's like an introvert.
Yeah, introvert. Sorry, and we're just talking to him, and finally, he doesn't even like warm up to it. He just says, "I'm gay."
It's just
just
out there.
And the first thing, like all three of us said was, "Okay,
okay." What do you want us to do with
that
information?
Do you like us? He's like, "No, you're not my type." I'm like, "Okay,
all right, cool.
Well, all right. So let's keep eating." Yeah. So for like the next 45 minutes, now he's feeling comfortable now.
Yeah.
So now like this freaking waiter walks by and he's like, "Hey Johnson, he's cute, isn't he?" I'm like, if you think so, yeah, man, like go for it. Like, I don't want to. Like, I can't be your wingman.
Yeah.
With that guy. But no, I wish now he had told me, like the first day Airborne. But okay, just say with my unit, maybe 10 of us went, and I think they broke us down by alphabetical. Like I said, I don't remember much. So the guys and the girls that I went with, I never saw them for like those 12 days.
Yeah.
So like just like the military, you got to learn these new people, make new friends. So I know why he didn't tell us, because he didn't know us. But I mean, you could just see the relief coming off his face after he had told us. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't care.
It's not a big deal.
No, like even now being out of the military, like I don't care where you put your body parts in. I don't care.
As long as you're not trying to put it in me.
Black, white, gay, I don't care. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do your job.
Yeah.
Like, don't be at work thinking, well, I'm just here for the paycheck. Obviously, we all are.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're not working, that means somebody else is picking up your slack. That's like in the military. A bunch of us were joking, like the second deployment, like, you know what? Like, I just killed myself. Like, we didn't want to, but then I thought, well, like, if I kill myself, that means Billy over there is going to have to pick up my slack. Like, and I don't want to do Billy dirty like that.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I guess that makes sense. And then, like, just say, if 5 of us kill ourselves, then everybody's going to pick up our slack. Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that either. Like,
I I guess I have to go back to work.
Remember, military and prison.
Yeah.
Only 2 jobs where they ask you how long you been in and how long you got left.
Yeah.
Or
definitely.
what'd you do to get in here? Kind of
oh, yeah. What'd you do?
I got lost on the way to college.
Yeah.
Name that movie.
No idea.
Jarhead. Coming from Jarhead. Good job.
That was the reason I didn't see that movie.
It was all right. I mean, the whole premise is he didn't take a shot the entire deployment.
I don't know. That's about everybody's deployment. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Jumps.
The last bit of Airborne School. All right. To graduate Airborne School, how many jumps do you need?
It's like 5 or 6, right?
5. So if you're considered a 5 jump chump, that means after Airborne School, you never jumped again, basically.
No, okay.
So I want to say, like on a typical airborne, schedule, like the full 3 weeks, you do, 1, 1, 2, and then 1. So it's like 4 days of jumping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We didn't have that option.
So just do it all 5
I'm pretty
in one day.
sure. No.
I was like,
I'm pretty sure we had 1 and then 2 and 2. The last day where we did 2 jumps, the first jump, I mean, it was kind of sketchy. It was kind of windy,
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we're doing it again. I'm thinking, well, shit, man. All right, here we go. We got 1 more. We're done. Every time I would land, when you freaking jump out of that airplane, it's so calm.
Really?
Like, you do not hear cars. You don't hear. I mean, you obviously hear people freaking out, like next to you. But
they're like, why did I choose to do this?
I mean, like when you're in that airplane, it's either hot or it's windy. When they freaking open the door,
You're just glad to be out of there.
All that pressure opens up, and it's such a wind. But when you jump out, it's wind. You're shaking. But then when your parachute opens, it's just nothing. It's quiet, and then you think, this is amazing. Like this is God's earth right here.
Yeah.
And here it comes. Like
God,
it's coming up. I remember I was one of the last people out on one of the jumps, and I was the first one down.
Because you're such a big dude.
Apparently, according to the T-10 Delta that I jumped with, they say that the rate of fall is like 20 feet a second, kind of thing. So it's like jumping off a 2-story building.
Yeah.
Like you could jump off a 2-story building right now, and that's the force you're going to fall with, which is why they teach you how to fall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was the last one out because me being 220 back in the day and old girl who's 105, we have the same parachute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They aren't custom made to each person. And if you're caught in what they call a thermal's like this pocket of warm air.
Yeah, it's just shoot you straight back up.
You'll just float. Like, I remember landing. I was done. Like, I was packing my chute back in my bag. I'm looking up. Old girl's just floating up there.
She's like, please help me.
She's just kicking. And just like, well, eventually you're going to, slip that way and you'll get out of it.
She's like, I'm having such a good time up here.
Oh, man.
Please bring me down.
When you land, also, when you land, you have 2 little buckles right here that attach your parachute. You're supposed to do, undo one, so your parachute will lose all that air.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's like an umbrella. It's a parachute.
Yeah.
When you land, and
it's going to keep going that
way. And
way.
it's windy, it's going to bring you. One girl, she landed, and I guess, she rolled, stuff like that. It got wrapped around her neck.
Oh.
And the parachute opened up. And she got drugged. And I saw it, and I freaking Superman landed on her, undid it. Like, thankfully, she was okay. But the last jump number 5. This is for everything. Like, this is for the last 11 or 12 days of just shit that we're going through.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to do this, but let's just get it done. We're in the airplane, got our parachute, and the jump master, like the guy at the door, he's talking with an Air Force guy. Because, I mean, obviously they're flying the bird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Air Force guy, he did something like 2, 5, and he blew. So I guess that was the wind. You know what I mean? So apparently it was like 25 knots, which is pretty hard. So then the black cat, the Sergeant Airborne guy, he looks at his other counterpart and he goes like, 1, 5, blow. And I'm watching this the whole time. I'm thinking, this motherfucker's trying to get our 5th jump in when it's windy as hell out there. All I know is,
I want to be done with these guys. I got dinner plans.
All I know is when we jumped out, we were just oscillating back and forth out of that airplane. But we landed. I mean, you always land. You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to be stuck up there. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, let's hit a tree or something.
And remember, it's not the fall that'll kill you. It's that sudden stop. That's the joke. But no, we graduated. All of our families came down. Once again, couldn't wear cold weather gear. So it's like January in Georgia. It's probably 15 degrees.
Your family's all bundled up.
At the time,
somebody give me a blanket.
At the time, it was my wife, daughter's 2.
Yeah,
and this little shit is just like shaking. It's like she has mild Tourette's, like seizures right there. I love daddy kind of thing. So then the colonel or whoever was in charge of that particular unit or that training, he said, and I remember good job, boys and girls.
He always talks too long.
Way
too long.
He's like, remember, there being no hazing, no blood wings. Because, when you use your wings, you gotta dig them in and make it all bloody.
Yeah, right.
Well, my black hat, the guy who I had hurt from falling all the times, he came up to me. He's like, Johnson, I just want to say congratulations. I mean, he's just digging it. He ain't punching.
It's in bone now.
He's not punching, so from like a distance, it just looks like he's just fixing my badge, But he's like, I just want to thank you for the 4 nights of bruises. And then obviously, my first sergeant from Germany, he was there, to support his unit. And he's like, hey, Johnson, just popped it right here. I'm like, oh my God, I can't move. He's like, thank you, first sergeant.
Yeah, for us, every time we get promoted, because y'all had the little patches on the front. We had the little...
we had them up here.
Yeah, up here too?
Yeah.
Well, we had the little wings or whatever.
I'm not a drill sergeant.
No, I mean, it had the little patch rank on the...
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
So we had the, every time you get promoted, no matter what rank it was, everybody comes by and congratulates you.
We're the same
boom,
way.
Right, yeah. It's always fun. I still have pieces of metal in my collarbone, I'm pretty sure.
That wasn't from the IED?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it might have been. But, if you're 6'1", half dozen the other.
A little bit of column A, well, one of my staff sergeants, who he passed away a few years ago. The way he would, the way he would promote somebody, he would walk up to him. He was a big wrestling fan. He might have liked Brian's podcast. He would just walk up to you. He'd just be like this. He would just woo, like Ric Flair. He would just Ric Flair everybody. That was his thing, and he loved to fart. He just walked by, just all over the place. It smelled awful. Good man.
Laugh about it and walk off.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean that was a condensed airborne school. Looking back, I couldn't imagine going for 5 days and taking 2 days off. It's almost like I'm glad we got it done.
Yeah, so you have to keep going.
But I mean, now when I squat, my knees just sound like a brick in a blender. It's just it's just crunching. Do you have any cool schools that you went to?
Not really.
No.
LAV school, we just kind of marched everywhere and then worked on engines and then left.
Basically, that sounds super exciting.
Yeah, it was super exciting. Nothing as cool as Airborne.
Let's calm down with that. Airborne's more of a group,
Yeah, I mean, we had guys.
Air Assault still does things,
we had guys that went before deployment in between our white space, we called it.
Yeah.
They didn't have training or anything. They offered them to go to schools like Airborne or Scuba School or machine gun corps.
You didn't want to go?
I was mechanics. I didn't get to go.
I was UAV.
It's all grunt guys. Well, welcome to the Marine Corps. The grunts get everything.
Because do y'all have airborne units?
No. So basically for us, MARSOC, Recon, stuff like that. Then Anglico,
the fancy people. Basically.
Anglico, the forward observers or whatever.
Okay.
And
the Army, anybody can do it.
Nobody really says they're Anglico. So if somebody tells you they're Anglico, it's usually true because nobody knows what the fuck it is.
I've never heard of that.
I got some family that did that. I have to get him on the show. I'm trying to talk him into it. He retired as a gunny, but he was in Anglico. And
what is Anglico? Just in 10 words or less kind of thing.
I can't remember the acronyms. Army Navy Gun Liaison or something like that. Basically, they go 20 miles behind the line and got laser guide bombs in and stuff. Like the Moab that dropped.
Oh yeah.
That was Anglico.
Wow.
So,
okay. I had no idea.
There's no units around. It's just him.
Right.
And his supporter, security guy, it's 2 guys just running through the desert and with a big laser, just painting targets or calling in naval gunfire or whatever, stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's pretty hardcore stuff, man. Those guys.
I would love to have him on.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I'll try to talk him into it, but he might not do the camera thing. But other than that, because some of the stories are not.
I mean, like he can be behind the camera.
Yeah. We'll black
just like talking to him. Yeah, the hood.
Yeah.
Abu Ghraib.
Yeah.
joking. Bad joke. But yeah, I mean, is that so? Nothing
cool at all. Never.
Okay.
Yeah. Worked on guns.
Well,
school with the Army. That was a horrible idea.
There you go.
Why they put Marines and Army in the same school?
Well,
Ever.
Would you have wanted Air Force?
That would have been way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason we're not allowed on Air Force bases. So.
Okay.
Small detachments.
Well, if you're done,
yep.
I'm gonna leave with this. I've been trying to ask more people this question. I asked them what the 5 branches of the military are. And I assume that people listening to this, they'll know. I'll even give you a few seconds to think about it. That should be about all the time you need. You know, they haven't changed in a while. I think like the most recent was still at least a century ago, I would assume.
Yeah.
I was at a restaurant with a buddy from the Meaningless Drivers podcast. Another plug. Don't say it. I don't plug y'all. We were eating, and our waitress comes up, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great starting person. She's maybe 21, 22, out of college, educated, you know. And I asked her what the branches of the military are. I didn't say 5 or 4, 12. I just wanted to leave it kind of, you know,
yeah.
Wanted to use her mind. And she's like, okay, I know this. You know, she put down her tray.
It's like she had to really think about it.
Like, she was ready to go.
Oh, man.
She said, okay, it's judicial.
She was
the
all serious
Constitution.
About it. She was
and
serious
I'm just
about
looking
it,
at her like, okay, that's the branches of government minus the Constitution. That's a document. And then she's like, oh wait, sorry, just give me one.
Give me a second.
Army? She's like, oh, Army, okay. And then she's like, Army, Navy. And it's like that. It's like when you're watching your kid in 3rd grade at a spelling bee and they're just looking at you for like help. She's like, I can't help you right now, sweetheart. You have to do this yourself. This is why we study. So
she's just freezing.
God. And then she eventually got the other 2. And then apparently Coast Guard was something new to her. She had no idea. Like, and I'm trying to give hints like, okay, this branch protects our water borders.
Yeah.
Trying to narrow it down, like protects, guards,
coast,
water.
A lot of people associate them with like lifeguards and stuff. They don't really advertise for the Coast
Lifeguards.
Guard. Well, I mean, I'm saying like my wife always thought before I joined, because they had a detachment out there in Lejeune because we were surrounded by water. They always thought like they're kind of like the Navy, but like just right there in the rivers and stuff. They didn't know like they seized all the cocaine.
They were like a National Guard Navy.
Yeah.
Like just us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never advertised on TV. You never saw them like their drug busts or anything. So they didn't want to put them out there, put all the sailors' faces out there so they can get a hit put on them and stuff like that. So
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So now, I mean, a lot more people were hearing about it, especially because of drug busts and stuff.
If you haven't seen The Guardian with Ashton Kutcher and Kevin Costner, you probably don't even know that the Coast Guard is a branch of the military. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was in Alaska, right? Rescue diver.
It was somewhere cold.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, more power to those guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. You know, I joined the military to fly my little airplane around because I knew there were people willing to, you know, do the infantry or the artillery or like anything like that.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who was smart as hell. Like, I mean, he's dead. But I mean, he went infantry. He was super smart.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I thought they're going to be lucky to have him.
So, I mean, what we can close with, man, is we'll see how many people we can get to ask what the branches of the military are.
Nobody's gotten all 5 yet.
Really?
They all forget Coast Guard.
For the 4 people that listen, follow us on Facebook and stuff.
Boom.
Comment back with us or message us and see how many people actually know. I'd be surprised to hear that, honestly. I would never think judicial would be...
Judicial in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I'm going to be a constitutionalist.
I think she just like drew a blank or something.
She was. I hope she was nervous.
Anyway.
She was nervous.
I hope so. Anyway,
she was also the same girl who said that, you know, my friends always want to party, but like I just want to hang out some nights. And me and my buddy were like, hey, just hang out. You know, get some wine, watch some Netflix, binge something. She's like, you know what? You're right. 2 nights later, like, you know, he has her on a Snapchat. Just they're freaking at the club. They're dancing. They're drinking. I'm like, girl, just do what you want to do. But you know her. She's going to be so upset if I don't go. Okay. Let her be upset, whatever. It's your life. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about that kind of crap all day. So, yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. I can't believe y'all are still with us. If you're listening to this, So that was episode 7. We'll try to do something next week. We're going to try to get buddies on Skype. Can't promise the quality to be great, but I would love to hear y'all's stories.
Definitely.
Okay? Bye.